fellas.
I'm not shitting you, man. I had a drummer one time during that 7-hour show we did. He never pissed once.
I mean, he did. He just didn't tell you to stop. So you get the gig at Tootsie's, then you go on the record label.
Yeah.
Are you touring more? Are they sending you out? What are you doing? You still jamming there every 6 nights a week?
The first part that I did was a radio tour.
Okay.
Which means you played for free.
Yeah, it was just me, the music director, and I guess the guy who was over radio promotions, and he was my bass player in my band, went out and traveled the country in a damn 1996 Cadillac.
Playing what, like lobbies of radio stations?
We just would go to radio stations. We'd try to set up radio interviews, and if we didn't have one in the town, we'd just go knock on the door and see if they'd let us in, or we'd talk to them. It was almost Loretta Lynn style back in her day without the bologna sandwiches. Actually, we did eat some bologna sandwiches.
Damn right.
He was Slim Pickens a little while, and but we traveled across Texas so often, man. I could almost tell you exactly what time that black and white dog was going to be sitting over there by that stop sign. You know what I mean? And we were all over the place, but we got some radio traction on it, and like we were talking before the podcast even started. For some reason, coastal California radio stations were playing the shit out of my songs. And so I was out there working radio, and I went down on the Sunset Strip back when they still had Tower Records, where you could actually buy CDs and stuff, and walked in Tower Records and went back there and actually purchased my own CD from Tower Records on the Sunset Strip.
When you laid it on the counter, did you want them to look down at it and look up and be like, I know. I know. Just try to contain yourself.
Hey, can I buy this album?
Yeah, hey, I ain't gonna really say how they knew that was me before I left, but they definitely knew that was me before I left that damn store. Just saying. Hell yeah, man. And, and I got to tell this Whiskey A Go-Go story, too, because this is funny as shit.
You played there, too?
No, I didn't play there, but I went in there.
Yeah.
And, because we grew up in the Motley Crue and the Poison and the glam rock and the hair metal days, and when the Sunset Strip was just nothing but beautiful girls and parties and motorcycles and just this whole glamorous lifestyle look at things. So I'm thinking, man, I can't wait to hit the Sunset Strip. I'm going to the Rainbow. I'm going to Whiskey A Go-Go. I'm doing all this shit. It's going to be awesome. So I go in the Whiskey A Go-Go dressed about like I am right now. I had on denim shirt and a cowboy hat and boots, and and I go in there, and there's this Asian screamo band with an orange mohawk screaming into the microphone, and a bunch of about 30 people on the dance floor karate kicking each other and body slamming and moshing and shit. And I felt like that character in the damn Uneasy Rider 2 song with Charlie Daniels. I thought to myself, Jim, this ain't our kind of place. I had to finish my beer, get out of there before somebody drop kicked the shit out of me.
I think Alfred was at that.
But it was nothing like I pictured in my dadgum head, how the Sunset Strip, and that era had died long ago, man.
Yeah.
It died with Nirvana.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But god dang, that was funny shit, though.
Do you remember coming out and visit, and we would go to places? I mean, people that never been think Hollywood Boulevard's like the glitz and the glamour and the whole day. You're like, no, it's homeless people. Yep. You will get stabbed before you find the star you're looking for.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like out there now, man. I mean, I hear stories of shit, but I will say this. I was on my way back from Fiji playing down there, and we stopped we had like a 12-hour layover in San Francisco. And so I wanted to see the Golden Gate Bridge, and we went down to the wharf and all that stuff. And I was expecting to just see all the shit they show you on TV. I saw none of that.
Right.
I had a great time at great restaurants. There was no tent shanties or none of that shit at that time. This was probably, 2018, maybe 17, last time I went over there and played.
Not under protest and people sitting out. Yeah,
I didn't see any of that shit.
City, yeah.
It was just like being down in Gulf Shores or
Yeah.
Orange Beach or something. You know what I mean? But I will tell you this. It was in August, and we were sitting on the Golden Gate Bridge and could not see the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
That's how foggy it was.
Yeah.
No shit.
And then 5 minutes later, it would roll out. So we pulled over there to the visitor center, man, and got out. And, you know, we're still wearing our summer clothes. It's freaking August. Just got back from Fiji. It was so damn cold. We had to go in there and buy sweatshirts and shit.
It's a miserable
It was
cold out there.
freezing.
Yeah.
And I think it was Barbara Streisand or Carly Simon or something years ago said the coldest winter I ever spent was the summer I spent in San Francisco. And by God, I believe it. It was freezing, man.
We did that. Didn't expect it. We
No.
thought we was gonna get out there. We lived in L.A. and I thought it's gonna be similar. No.
No, it
Not
was
at
freezing cold, man. And like I said, 1 minute it would be clear as a bell. The next minute you couldn't see the hood on your car. It was so foggy.
We went there to take pictures, and you couldn't. We had to wait. We had to wait for the fog.
We couldn't take them from on the bridge because by the time it was just, you know, once we got around to the visitor center, we could take it from there, and we got some pretty good shots. But it was crazy, man. But
What's some gigs? You said you knew some gigs where you went, man, we shouldn't be here.
oh god dang, I actually played at the 278 Lounge when it was still open behind Chicken Wire.
Wait. Well,
Behind
first I want
Chicken
to hear
Wire?
about it, but I meant like a big time where you went, man, what the hell are we doing opening for this band or at this gig or at this venue? Like kind of a moment where you go, man, we've fleeced everybody. We shouldn't be. You know what I mean? I think every band has a moment or a comic or somewhere you're like, man, if they knew. If they knew
It's
who
called
I was.
imposter syndrome. This
Yeah,
can't be really
yeah.
happening.
You go, this can't be happening to me. If they
Dude,
knew who this was.
At this point in my career, what I'm getting paid, all of them. Every goddamn one. I'm like, God, dude, this shouldn't even be happening.
He's walking
but-
home every Monday night for Kid Rock's with New Year's Eve money, dude. That's what's going on. He keeps waiting for that phone call every day to be like, man, you got away with it for a while, but
Yeah, every
those
gig
days are
I-
over, son.
Every gig I'm overpaid, man, because I'm telling you, I've never thought I was a great singer. I can't even
But you're
listen.
in bars, though.
That's
You'd
what
be
the
an
same thing-
entertainer.
That's the same
Yeah.
thing David said too. He's like, he's not a great singer.
I can't
guy.
No,
look.
I did not say that.
But everybody was thinking it.
I just wanted to whip your ass before we leave, David.
But you know, man, I can't even listen to stuff that I've recorded back. Like if somebody posts a video on Instagram or anything like that, I just breeze on past it because I'm just so critical of myself. I think it's horrible. And I've got tapes and cassettes and CDs of when we recorded live through the years, man, that I can't even listen to them. But what I always have had since the very first show, very first time I ever stepped on stage when I wasn't even in a band, there's just something that people connected with. And I always try my best to entertain them on a personal level. You know, if I have one true gift in music, it's this. Within 3 minutes, I will have everybody in the palm of my hand and I can keep them there for as long as I'm on stage, whether it's 4 hours or 7 hours. And I've played 7 hours straight with no breaks without repeating a song before.
Yeah.
And they were still clamoring for more. And I'm finally like, we got to get the fuck out of here. I got to be somewhere tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, we just did 7 hours. Like, we'll give you another 3,000, play another hour. And I'm like, we're out. Got to go. And so, but it's just that connection on a personal level. And I try to talk to my son. He's 22 and about to be 22. And he's doing his thing now and playing at Tootsie's Orchid Lounge. And I said, you just got to get up there and talk to him like you're having a conversation with your friend. The whole crowd, like it's just one person, you're having a conversation. Yeah. And that's the one thing that I've always been great at. And I will hang my hat on that right there. I'm not the greatest musician or singer or songwriter, but
I don't think people are looking for that when they come
they're
see
not,
you.
man. And I try to mentor younger players that are coming up and they try to talk to me because, you know, I make stupid money on Broadway. I have since the day I walked on that street.
Mm-hmm.
And started a lot of the trends that you see on Broadway. Some of the younger players might not know
Who started?
who started that or where it comes from, but you can walk in almost any bar and I can show you something that they're doing that came from me because I've just been there for so long. And my goal wasn't to come in there and just use that as a stepping stone to maybe get to a publishing deal or a record deal. I went in there and turned that shit into a business.
Right.
I made a career out of it. So I wanted to make as much money as I could. And so I went in there always open-minded on how do I get this money up? How do I get these tips bigger? How do I walk out of here with more cash? And but I always tell them the formula is this simple. It is this simple, no matter what bar you're playing in. Play songs they know the words to.
Mm-hmm.
And stand up there and look like you're having the greatest time in the world. And they'll be falling all over you the entire time. You go up there and sing 3 original songs they ain't never heard, and they're going to bonk out to the next bar because there's no cover charge and there's just one door to the next is another bar.
Yeah.
You play 3 or 4 deep cuts that they don't know the words to, and they're gone. Every song I play, even the ones that are requested because, they're requesting songs that they know, are smash hits.
Yeah.
Smash hits. Everybody knows the words to it. It don't matter how old they are.
Yeah.
I can kick off Chattahoochee and the freaking 21-year-old girl will scream and sing every word.
Are there musicians trying to play Nashville? Is there a set of songs that you're supposed to already know, like a box of songs? I've heard that there's like 110 or 120 songs that if you don't know, you can't even...
There's a nucleus, man, of songs that you do. Like there's certain Keith Urban songs that everybody knows. They all play it. There's certain Luke Combs songs, Luke Bryan songs, certain Brooks and Dunn songs, certain Zach Brown songs, certain AC/DC songs, certain Bon Jovi songs that everybody knows. And they got this the shared file that they use on Dropbox. It's got 40,000 charts in it. Every time somebody learns a new song, they'll upload this chart to this file, and most bass players have it, and they keep their phone on their mic stand. And
you don't do that shit though.
No, I don't do that.
I was about to say, that was my next question is, what do you think about guys that iPad it up on stage?
Man, it's a new generation.
No, I'm talking about as a front man, I think it's terrible.
I think it's terrible if you're using it as a crutch. Now, here's what I will do. If I get $100 for a song, $50 for a song to play it, whatever, and I ain't never played it before.
Oh, yeah.
And the band can work it out, which there's very few we can't pull off.
Right.
I'll make a joke out of it, and I'll say, man, we got $50, we got $100 to play this song. I don't even know this shit. I don't even know the lyrics to this song, but y'all give me like 25 or 35, 45 seconds to learn this song, and we're going to play it. And now I'll pull up the lyrics, and it's just part of my stick. You know what I'm saying? And that in itself is entertaining, but it's all about your delivery.
Well, you're blowing somebody's balls off by doing that because they know that's not a normally requested song. Because they thought they were going to stump you. Is what
exactly, and I can't tell you how many people will tell us after the show, I cannot believe you guys could play that many songs, just one you've never heard, and you could play it. And we can, man. I mean, if I turn around and talk to the crowd and they can listen to 30 seconds of a song, we'll play the shit out of it.
Yeah. All you got to do is get to that first chorus, man. You're getting their money's worth for sure.
And even if you mess it up, if you play that off, that's even sometimes more entertaining than actually killing the song.
Dude, that's why I love seeing badass motherfuckers like y'all screw up songs. That's my favorite thing to see. It's like they are human, these motherfuckers. They are.
It's like back in NASCAR. Yes.
But we cover all kind of stuff, man. I mean, I can literally vocally cover Bon Scott and Brian Johnson with AC/DC. I can do the Metallica shit. I could cover Axl Rose, Journey. I could do Bon Jovi, and I could sing Johnny Cash, and I could sing Trace Adkins and Jamie Johnson, and you'll believe it all.
Don't you find it funny, these artists that like, I'll do one day on, one day off, and they're only singing an hour at best?
God.
Doesn't that drive you crazy? Like, you're doing cover shows for 3 and 4 hours, no break. You're just so conditioned to, if you were like a national artist playing and you only had to play for an hour, wouldn't you be like, I was just getting warmed up, man.
My voice ain't even really warmed up in an hour.
Yeah.
And I think pussies.
Yeah, I do too.
They're up there. I've lost my voice. I've done 3 shows and I did 90 minutes. Right. I've got to go on voice rest. I've had 3 damn vocal surgeries, son, and I still get up there and grip it and rip it. Hell yes, really? I have.
3?
Hell yeah. I just had my 3rd one in November, and I was singing on New Year's Eve.
No shit.
Yes, sir. Last November, a year ago.
What were they doing? What do you mean? What's voice surgery mean?
you get polyps or nodules and shit on your vocal cords, and they characterize it like a callus on your hands.
Yeah.
You overwork your vocal cords, and it gets these little lumps on it, and it causes you to be hoarse or raspy, and you can't hit those high notes and stuff. And the first time I got it done in Gadsden by some doctor, he got my nose broke terribly in the 6th grade playing basketball. I mean, it was just laid over. So he worked on my nose and my throat and just butchered me, man, my nose especially. Then I had another one in 2004, right as my daggone record was finished. I started getting raspy, and I'm like, well, shit, I need to go and get this done because I need to do this tour. But I got this done, the second one done at Dr. Ossoff's office in
shout out Dr. Ossoff.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be like, that clinic's supposed to be the greatest in the world. They do Aguilera, they do Keith Urban, anybody that's a singer, they do it.
Yeah.
That shit took me a year to get over. I like to never got over that, man.
How are you doing that singing 3 and 4 days a week? You're not supposed to, are you?
You're not supposed to, and I had to take some time off. And back then, I really couldn't afford to. I had my album I was promoting, and I was still, I was still struggling to pay rent. I wasn't making kind of money I make now back then, and still renting and living in an apartment. Well, this last one I had done at the VA, and I had this young Mexican doctor. He couldn't have been 30. Dude, that guy, I was back to singing within 6 weeks, hitting notes. I sing better now than I did when I was 30, when I was 20. It's amazing.
No shit.
I'm serious. I'm in better voice right now, and I can sing. As long as I keep singing every day, I can sing 5, 6, 7 hours and won't even get hoarse. And go right back and do it again tomorrow.
Prove it. Listen to the next 5 hours. Give him a guitar.
Most cover bands and stuff, man, they think, well, you're stupid for playing 4 hours straight, man. You not taking breaks, you're stupid.
Not when you're running $100 requests, you're not.
Well, you got to think about it like this. When I first started playing at world famous Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, that was the only block between 4th and 5th Avenue that had any kind of entertainment on Broadway. All them other bars was either a boot store, a pawn shop, or some other shit, candy store.
Yeah.
Wasn't no bars. They were empty. And so they got a 20-minute break, but you only got half your base pay. So you got $40, I think was the base pay at the time. And if you took a break, you got $20. And I thought, well, if I can play for 3 hours of 45 minutes for 20, I can damn sure do another 15 minutes for 40.
Right.
And that wasn't even the main reason. The main reason was if you took a break, everybody go to the bar right next door.
You'd lose them.
You'd lose them. Then it'd take you another, 45 minutes an hour to build the crowd back up, and then you got nobody in there tipping. So, and this is another thing Nashville can thank me for, because I started this too. And
hey man, don't dislocate your shoulder, pat yourself on the back.
Well, they probably ain't happy about it. No. But I started just playing straight through.
Yeah.
I started just playing straight through because I didn't want to lose my crowd over 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, and then they made it mandatory down there that we just all played straight through. That's what we did. And nobody minds it, trust me, because you don't want to lose your crowd, because you make your living off those tips. And if you ain't got asses in them bars, there ain't nobody tipping if they're in another bar.
What are you doing up there, pissing in Gatorade bottles?
Well, a lot of bands, like if somebody has to pee, they'll let the lead singer do a song, and then they'll jump up and go and he'll do an acoustic show. Well, I could play every instrument, so I'll go play bass or lead guitar or
and you
drums.
got Benny there a lot too.
And Benny's there, and so we all go to the bathroom. If they got, most of my band members, none of them will say, hey, I need to pee in a 4-hour show. Not one of them.
Yeah.
They never.
Strong bladders in that group.
I'm not shitting you, man. I had a drummer one time during that 7-hour show we did. He never pissed once.
I mean, he did. He just didn't tell you to stop.
He might have been peeing in his damn pants.
I've been with David Lyndon while he's shit in the middle of a show.
Hey, all the cool kids are doing it.
I seen him shit in a 5-gallon bucket and keep going. So.
God dang.
I've thrown up while playing. Keep going.
Hey, man, and most younger kids that's coming up today don't understand that concept either. Play through adversity.
They're like, I got a tummy ache. I'm taking a week off.
Yeah. I have broken my ribs so many times and just bones and shit. I've probably broken my ribs 8 times.
What are you breaking your ribs from?
Just
Cussing
some
cops
of it
out.
was some of it was
Cussing the
fighting.
cops out.
Cussing the cops
He got
out.
beat by a Billy
Yeah, the
Club.
cops beat your
Some of it was fighting. One time I broke my ribs. I was on that Pros versus Joes. Y'all remember that on Spike TV?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember
I was
that.
on that show and I broke my ribs doing
What do
that
you
shit.
mean you were on that show?
Yeah,
You're just gonna sweep that
Doing
under the
what?
rug and not bring that up.
I did.
what?
I made it on the show with Kurt Angle, and then they had a basketball player and a football player, and I was 36 at the time, and I was on there with a bunch of 22-year-old dudes. And my only reason for doing this is I didn't have no expectations of winning. I just wanted to put on the football pads one more time and smack somebody. That was it. I just wanted to make it that far. And so we're down there, and there's 8 of us. And since Kurt Angle was on the show, you know, the WWE wrestler or whatever
Olympic
he was.
gold medalist, by the way.
Yeah,
Not
he
just
was.
a-
He is actually a legit wrestler,
yeah,
Olympic
not
gold
just
medalist,
not just a pro wrestler,
Yeah.
a Olympic gold medalist.
and an
Okay.
absolute fucking crazy person. That son of a bitch is crazy. And
Shout out, Kurt.
and so they had a wrestling ring set up, and they were going to do a battle royal with the 8 of us, and the first 2 throwed out was eliminated, and then the other 6 moved on to the other events. So I get in there, and so my roommate was about he'd probably 5'6", 5'7", little bitty dude, and so them other 6 had already made a plan. 3 of them was going to grab him, 3 of them was going to grab me. Well, they grabbed him and chunked him out pretty quickly. Well, you see them running against them ropes and bouncing off and shit and then jumping on each other and stuff. Well, that ain't how these ropes were. These suckers were so tight. I mean, they must have cranked them down with a torque wrench or something. They were so tight. Well, when they just came at me, they threw me against that rope and it just cracked my ribs right off the bat. Man, they were so tight. Didn't give an inch. So I'm sitting here battling these 3 dudes, just trying to stay in the ring. We're not fist fighting or nothing, but you know we're jockeying for position. Well, they chunked the other dude out, and so the other 3 come over and got on me.
So it's 6-1.
And so I got my hands on the ropes, and just because I'm a musician, I work hard. I've had my whole life. I got strong ass hands, and so I grabbed a hold of them ropes and was kicking them off of me and stuff. Well, it was taking them way longer than it should have to get me out of there, and the producers changed the rules. You had to be thrown out onto some cardboard boxes. Then they changed it to just get him out of the ring and the rope.
We got a commercial break.
Yeah, it was taking forever, man. And so they finally got me over the rope, and I slid back under the bottom of it. They didn't throw me out like into the cardboard or nothing. And they called it because I went over the rope. And boy, I cussed them. I figured they'd show this on TV and it'd be nothing but bleeps. I cussed them for 5 minutes. The whole time I'm walking out there, I'm cussing them like dogs. That wasn't the rules. You some bitches. Blah blah blah. Fuck all y'all. I'm laying it on, and then inside I'm thinking, thank God, thank God, because boy, I could feel that getting stiff, and I was totally out of breath.
Wait, was Kurt Angle in the match, or was he just
No,
watching?
they had to. Like, after you made it through that part, then you got to go. You had to face off with Kurt Angle. You had to face off with the basketball player, and you had to face off with the football player.
I got you.
This was just a prelim to cut the number from 8 to 6. And so this whole time, man, all of y'all probably think this, and we all do. In our minds, we're still 18 years old. We can still run and jump and throw and fight and do all that stuff. But our old bodies don't cooperate.
Nope.
Yeah.
I thought I was in pretty decent shape till I got in there wrestling. When I come out, son, oh my God. I didn't even have enough wind to cuss them properly. I wanted to cuss them so much better, but I was so out of breath. I was so winded, I couldn't even do it well.
It was just
It was goddamn.
Hey, you see some production assistant coming up, and him going, "Give me your goddamn supervisor."
I said, where's the fucking producer at?
I ain't coming back
Oh,
to this bullshit.
as soon as I started raising hell, they all run over there and got right in my face with them cameras. And boy, then I really laid it on thick. I thought I would give them some TV.
Can you believe they cut that shit, man? That
I
sounds
was
like-
shocked they didn't show it. That would have been great TV. That's why I really laid it on as thick as I did.
You were acting,
yeah.
I
I'm
wasn't.
the John Stone character now.
Well, I just got out and I was going to cuss a little bit because honestly, man, I got to say, after I knew they'd done broke my ribs like instantly. I knew I couldn't continue, but I wanted to make it look good.
Yeah.
You know, but then when they put the cameras on me, I thought, okay, they want some TV. I'm going to give it to them. So then, buddy, I really went to raging.
Oh,
And then they didn't put none of it on there. I thought, shit, at least I'll make the show. You know what I mean?
It's a terrible producer.
Terrible producer.
Well, see,
I mean, they would have had all these bleeps. It would have been awesome.
Well, all they would have heard was just beep the whole fucking time. Not just one long motherfucker.
Supervisor, beep, beep.
Oh, man. But, and so back to our original point, man, and I would play through that shit, you know, because the way I look at it wasn't just me that was counting on that gig.
Oh, yeah.
4 or 5 other dudes was, man.
Yeah.
You know, they needed that gig. And at that time, if I was out, they didn't just let my band keep the shift. They do now. And I'll get Benny or, you know, another buddy or something to come in front, and the band just plays on like I'm there, and they keep that money. Well, back then that wasn't the case. So if I didn't play, they didn't play.
Yeah.
And
There's few singers that think the way you do.
and man, I'm telling you, so I just forced myself through it. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if y'all have ever tried to sing with a broken rib, but it literally feels like you got somebody with a screwdriver stuck in you when you're trying to take a breath. And it's about 6 weeks it takes to get
and they can't
to
do
get
shit
bearable.
about it.
There's
They
nothing.
Nope.
They just said time.
And I don't
That's
take
what I was
pain
gonna say.
medicine or nothing. That stuff just makes me feel weird. And so it's just grit your teeth and get up there and bear it, man. But back to your point, a lot of people nowadays that are coming up, I won't say they all are that way. You know, there's some people that they got grit too, but a lot of them are like you said, oh, I got a stomach ache. I'm just going to call in. I'll get somebody else to do my shift. And I told my son that. I said, son, you got to get your ass up and get on in there, because you got not just you and the band, these people who booked you, they got one of the hardest jobs in the world. They're booking 4 bars that have 3 stages that run 4 bands on each stage 365 days a year.
I wouldn't want that job.
They're dealing with 500 musicians a day.
Mm-hmm.
Their phone never stops ringing. It's 7-day a week, 16-hour a day job, sometimes 20-hour a day job. I said, when you're out, you just made their job harder, because you're throwing it on them in the last minute, and they're having to scramble finding somebody to replace your ass. I said, get up. If you're sick, take you a bucket and set it on stage and puke in if you have to, and get your ass back out there and knock this gig out.
Let me tell you something, sticks with people. They see you throw up on stage and keep singing, you're going to be walking away with a lot of money in that bucket.
It endears you to them, because, you know, they see you. You're not at your best. You're up there struggling, but yet you're still trying to give them the best that you got, man. And it goes a long way. And I see it all the time. And another thing that I see in Nashville constantly, this drives me insane. You walk in
the new Nashville, as of the past 5 years, Nashville.
The new Nashville is you walk into 90% of the bars, every musician on stage staring at their feet and looking like they'd rather be 10,000 different places. And I'm
can't
thinking,
do that.
you idiots. You're up here making a living playing music. What is wrong with you?
Lucky you are. You jaded
How
son
lucky,
of a bitch.
man. I still, to this day, I can come in, I can be feeling like crap, just don't want to go in to play. The minute I step on that stage and that beat hits, I'm nothing but smiles the entire time. And you couldn't wipe it off my face. Benny's the same way. He's a bottle of energy. You just can't keep him still. The band's up there having a good time. And that is infectious, man. The crowd will be the same way. They'll be smiling, and they want a part of that. They want some of that joy in their life, man.
Well, they're on vacation, most of
Yeah,
them.
and they just want to have a good time. And if you're just standing up there looking like you're just rather be somewhere else, that's infectious too. They pick up on that energy.
Yeah.
You get back the energy you put out, man, and that's 100%. And so many of those people up there do that shit and then wonder why they walked out there with $75 for a 4-hour shift.
Let me ask you a question, because I did briefly mention it before we started. A mutual friend, Chad Bearden, who's a singer-songwriter from Alabama, but he texted and said, hey, if it wasn't for you, that he wouldn't be in Nashville. I mean, is that something you tell everybody, hey, just bite the bullet and go? Or,
Yes.
or is it, okay.
100%, because it changed my life, like I said, man. I mean, it was the best thing I ever did. And if you're going to be in music and you want a career in music and you don't want to do nothing but music, there ain't no other place that's doing that 7 days a week. There's no place like that in the world. You can play on Broadway. I know guys that do triples. They'll do 12 hours. I know guys that they'll play 4 shows a day. And they'll do that shit. They'll play. My drummer probably plays every day. And he'll do a couple of shows a day sometimes. And there's guys that I know, they don't miss a day playing. They can play anytime they want to play. If you get up there and get in that clique and give people your number, get up and sit in with them, they know you can play. You're not an idiot. You're not a drunk. You're not an asshole. You're going to get calls because things come up and they sub those gigs out to other players all the time. And I tell them, I can't help you from there. There's nothing I can do for you in Gunnersville. You're probably already doing as good as you'll ever do down there. If you want to do something in music, you want a career, bite the bullet, get over your fear, and move to Nashville.
Trey was saying like national act guys that play on the weekend still come in during the week.
Oh, yeah. There's guys that are leaving national acts to come play Broadway because the money's so good now.
Right.
I guarantee you I pay my guys more than most people that's
Absolutely.
got big record deals.
Yeah.
And it still ain't enough. My road pay, I mean.
Yeah.
It still don't compete with what we're doing on Broadway.
People would be shocked to know that some of these Rascal Flats and these national artists have players for them that are just making such little money. And there's somebody behind them. There's somebody behind them waiting for them to say, "No, I've had enough of this shit." And they'll slide
take
right
it in a second.
In a second.
And I heard you say that. I heard Trey say that he was out with an artist or something was getting $150 a show.
Yeah,
$150 a show, and they're probably doing 3 or 4 a week.
But
he's got to be gone most of the time.
Right.
And maybe
they
they're
have
getting
to
a
leave
per diem.
on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Come back that Sunday shot usually.
Maybe they're getting a per diem. Maybe they're. I don't know. I can't speak on somebody else's deal with their band and stuff, but
Dude, artists that pay that poorly should be called out. I know they never will.
Well, here, it reminds me of comedy as well, though. There's a time I think with all of us. I mean, when I did comedy, there's a time where you go, "Hey, man, drive to Tennessee for $150," and I go, "You count me in. I need to get up there and get stage time, and I want to get in front of the
100%.
crowd and start learning." And that's the problem is at some point you go, "Well, I don't want to do that anymore." But like you said, there's 100 other dudes ready to go.
Right.
And that's just a career choice you got to make. You got to make that line in the sand where
but here's
is
the
me
thing
now.
that most musicians don't ever realize. This is the game changer, the turning point. And you do that until you get to the point, you work for whatever you have to until you get to the point where you don't have to leave and go out of town anymore, or you've got a comfortable lifestyle.
Right.
You can pay the bills with whatever you want to do. And then you say, "No, I'm not playing for that."
There's a lot of power
I'm not
in
playing
no.
for that. There's a lot of power in no.
Saying
And
no.
you would be shocked at how many people actually, like, just say a musician or something asking the first time for 5 figures to come to a show. They get almost sick at their stomach and they get the shakes.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid to ask for that money. My son did it. I told him the other day, he went down and did his first show he booked out, and he said, "What do you think I should ask for, Dad?" I said, "I wouldn't go for any less than this amount right here."
Yeah.
And he said, "You really think I should ask for that?" And I said, "Why wouldn't you?"
You can't go up.
I said,
might
"You're
as
going to have
well."
to drive all the way to Florida.
Yeah.
You're going to be out all your expenses, and you got to pay the guy that you're taking with you. You need to pay him well.
Yeah.
Why would you come back with less money in your pocket that you can make right there in Nashville? Just say no if they don't want to pay the money." Well, he asked him for the money. He said, "Man," he said, I just almost threw up. And I said, "Well, did you get it?" He said, "Yeah."
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah.
And I said, "You probably could have got more too."
Yeah,
I said, "But, that's good money for you. You're starting out." I said, "Take that as a lesson learned for it." And I talked to a girl the other day where she's asking for, 12, 13 grand a show. But she said the first time she asked for that, she just had a panic attack. And I will say too, as well, it was something for me to start asking for money. But what I realize is rich people don't buy cheap shit. They don't want cheap entertainment either.
If you price it low, they don't want
They
you.
don't buy.
yeah.
When I was playing locally and I was trying to book $1,000, $1,500 private parties, I never got booked.
Yeah,
I
you're
never
right.
got booked. Well, hell, about 15, 16 years ago, I'm playing in Nashville, and I meet this cat. He's got a one of the biggest heating and air conditioning plumbing companies in the country right now. But at the time, they were big, but not nowhere where they are now. Well, I moved to Nashville to get off the road, because that's what I did. I traveled every weekend playing all over the Southeast. I was in Nashville. I moved there to be in Nashville, not travel. So he asked me what I would get to come play a private party. Well, at the time, I just thought I'll throw a number out there and he won't take it and I won't have to say no, because you don't ever want to say no, like,
Right.
like I'm not interested.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
You
right.
can turn down their offer, and so I just threw out, like I said, this was 16 years ago. I said, we'll do it for $3,500. And he's like, yeah, man, I'll have my secretary give you a call and work out all the details.
Oh no!
And
Oh,
you're
man.
like, son of a
I'm
bitch.
like, damn.
If he had $8K
Well,
on that to spend on
I did a show for Bill Belichick. They came to Nashville. He was born in Nashville. His girlfriend, born and raised in Nashville. And so all her friends and families there. He come to Nashville one year to, they were going to do the Music City Marathon. They did a half marathon, him and his girlfriend did. And so I get a call or a text from Kid Rock one night, and he said, hey, man, you busy on, it was April 26th or some shit like that. And I said, no, I'm good. I'm open. He said, Belichick needs a band. Can they call you? I said, sure, give him my number. So 10 minutes later, the phone rings, and, I'm expecting to hear from a manager, secretary, some
yeah.
shit, the girlfriend, something. Well, I get a phone call, and he says, hey, John, this is Bill. He said, I got your number from Bob. Kid Rock's name's Bob Ritchie. And got your number from Bob. Me and my girlfriend's coming to Nashville. We're going to do a show. What would you charge me? So I gave him a price, and he said, well, do I need to send you a deposit or pay you up front? How do you need me to do that? I said, nah. I said, Bob vouched for you, and I've heard your name a time or two. It'll be all right. And he just kind of chuckled. And I never let on like I knew who I was talking to the whole time.
Right.
I never did. Even when they showed up, man. But he came down. We did the show for him at the Hermitage Hotel there in Nashville, and they made us shut it down at 11. And I told Bill, I said, hey, man, if you guys don't want to shut the party down, I said, I'll call down to Tootsie's, clear the VIP, get some security up there, drinks are on the house, come down and hang out. He said, yeah, I think I like that. And I said, all right. So we walked down there, man. We went up on the third floor. We're hanging out. I left them at 2:00. I was so damn tired. They shut the place down, man. Dude paid me 3 times what I asked him to get. And I still got the check. And I've been playing.
Let's cash it.
Well, I did the digital thing, so it ain't no good, but I still got it.
There ain't nobody in the check.
I'm hungry for a steak dinner. Let's go.
But I've been playing for him. I play for him every year on Nantucket in July, and been doing it for like 10 years now.
Well, if
and,
he needs a comic,
well, I'm telling you, man,
you'll
people.
just holler at me.
The number one question I get from, what's he like? Is he an asshole?
Yeah.
Is he crabby? No, he's one of the nicest guys I ever met, and his girlfriend and their whole family and their entire crew. It's one of the least stressful gigs I do all year long.
He
There's
ain't
just-
coaching your ass. He's having a good time.
Yeah, man, and
Yeah.
and he's not really outspoken.
Yeah.
He don't talk a lot, but he is funny and he's super nice, and they're so accommodating. Like I go there, man, he'll give us his Porsche to drive while we're there, or a Jeep or some shit. Just we stay at his house or his friend's house. We stay over there, and John Esposito, who's over Warner Brothers Worldwide. He's his friend on Nantucket. We hang out with him. They're awesome. The freaking owner of the White Sox came to the show, and authors and stuff come to the show, and it's just so. It's the easiest gig we do, man. There's no pressure. They're so nice, and they just eat up anything you do. And when it's time to quit, they're ready to go to the house and make a cocktail, man. It's awesome.
How'd you meet Kid Rock?
This is a cool story too, man. Back in 04, 05, Kenny Olsen, his guitar player, left the band.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what the reasons were for that, but he left. And Bob's working on the Rock and Roll Jesus album. Well, he comes into Tootsie's one night and sits there on the first floor and gets into VIP. And he had a condo down on West End in Nashville. I'd never met him before, but huge Devil Without a Cause fan. That
Yeah.
first
Sure.
record, fuck man.
Yeah.
And everything he had done is so when he walked in, I was like, holy shit, that's freaking Kid Rock. And so he sat down and we're up there just wailing, son. And I don't even have the band then that I have now, but we were still tearing the place up. So I grabbed the guitar and just started playing it. And I throw the sun gun behind my head, and I'm just wearing this thing out. And so we get done playing. I hand the guitar back to my guitar player, and I go over there and introduce myself. And I said, "Hey, man, thanks for stopping in." And he asked me my name and everything. And he said, "What are you doing when you get through playing?" I said, "I ain't got no plans." He said, "Come back to the pad with us, man." And he said, "We got plans for you." And I said, "Okay." So I go back to his condo, me and my dad and my bass player.
Is it the house he has now?
No, it was a condo. He just bought a little condo down on West End, probably a couple bedroom, until he could find what he was looking for. And he offered me the job playing lead guitar in his band. I was going to take Kenny Olson's spot. And so I said, "Fuck yeah, man, I'm in." And so I go home and I start working on this new record. And I mean, he played me Blue Jeans and a Rosary and shit like that before it ever dropped, before it was ever even mastered and stuff. Yeah. And so the guy that's in his band now, Marlon, wrote some of the songs on that record with him all summer long, and a lot of those songs on that record. And he did the studio work in there, but he wasn't going to go on the road, but Kid Rock wanted him to. Yeah. Well, he changed his mind, somewhere between then and the tour kicking off. Well, that was kind of a no-brainer. He wrote half the songs, played all the instruments on the records and shit. So he went on to be Kid Rock's guitar player, but me and Bob stayed friends, and started. And then I think a couple years later, he started up the Kid Rock cruise, and it was a music cruise like y'all were talking about, man. And so he invited me on that first one, and I was the only artist besides him to be invited back on all 10 of those music cruises.
Damn.
Yeah. And so
why did you turn down the guitar position? That's what I want to know.
I didn't, dude. I didn't.
For the other guy.
I told him I was in, but when Marlon changed his mind, he changed his mind. It said, "Hey, on second thoughts, I'll take the gig if it's still open, Bob." And Bob said, "You're in." And so, but it opened that door for, us to communicate and become friends. And now, hell, he don't live 18 miles from me. He's got the big mansion up there. And but before he built that mansion, he had a double wide camouflage trailer up there.
No shit. He got the property and just slapped that on it.
Yeah, he bought this property. It was like 80 acres right on top of a hill. It's got one of the best views in all of Nashville. And he pretty much stole it, man. And but he had to climb this to the top of the summit because the road was washed out. And there's 4 guys owned it, and he got up there and pulled weeds back, where he could see.
So you could see the view.
He's like, "Write him a check." And so he got that, and then 120 acres down below him came available that was a dude ranch. And so he said they wanted to sell it to him. He said, "I know I'm going to have to pay celebrity tax." He said, "So here's an offer on your property. It's good for 24 hours. And after that, I don't want it at no price." So they took it, and now he's got 200 acres there.
Jeez.
And he moved his double wide down there where a little saloon and all that dude ranch shit was, and on the pond. And he's got that big mansion up there, 27,000 square feet with 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
2 bedrooms.
2 bedrooms.
2 bedrooms. He's got a bowling alley in there. He's got a 20-person, real huge stone rock grotto, hot tubs and shit. It's crazy, man. And like, I've been to parties at his place it's called the Rattlesnake Saloon down there at the bottom. And it was the old Dude Ranch Saloon. I've literally been in there with Priscilla, Lisa Marie, her son before he passed away, Loretta Lynn, Trailer Park Tammy, Gretchen Wilson, Jake Owen,
Theo Bone.
What's Dennis? Played Great Balls of Fire.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah, he played that
Dennis
part.
Quaid.
Dennis Quaid, yeah, he was in there. Dennis Rodman came to my show the other day at Kid Rock's. I stayed for the whole damn show. Him and Neil Smith, the defensive end for Kansas City and Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Freaking Rodman stayed the whole show.
Do you
He's a
think
great music fan. He's a great music fan.
Morgan Wallen, people are always jumping up on his stage. Like every time I see you go live, there's somebody new.
Morgan Wallen, the first time he got on a stage, any stage after all that shit went down with him getting caught, talking to his buddy, was on stage with me at Kid Rock's.
Wow.
He came in with Bob and John Daly, who's a freaking fucking freak. I love that guy. We've been friends 25 years. I fucking love that guy. But you talk about a goddamn partier, son.
Man.
He is a wild man.
Have you been to Hooters with him?
Huh?
Have you been to Hooters?
Never been to Hooters with him, but we partied on a number of occasions. I met him in Gunnersville, Alabama, of all places.
No
Before I
shit.
moved to Nashville. Some golf tournament, charity golf tournament happened over there, and they had the after party at some dude's ranch. And
That dude was probably like, John Daly's coming to party here.
And I got invited to come play through some channel, and he got up and we hit it off, man. And now I was sitting at the house the other day, and my son, his fiance and friends were sitting there. John called me on the phone. Jack said, "Is John Daly really calling you?" I said, "Yeah, man. He's a good dude, but crazy. All that shit you see on TV, it's not fake. It's not fake.
That 30 for 30s. Great.
It's all true." And he don't give a fuck, man. He don't.
He
Never
embraces.
has. That's what makes him so special, man.
Yeah.
And he's a super nice guy. And he can actually sing. He's got a couple of records out. He gets up and sings with us all the time. Every time he comes in.
Yeah, I heard him butcher a song. I was trying to think of what song it was.
Well, he can do
Knocking
that too now. He can be a drunk. He can come in drunk and do what we all could do on a song drunk, man. But I've been blessed, man. I've been really lucky as far as just the way things have turned out. And some of it was just fate, just like a dude walking in and his name's Mark Wallace. We're still friends to this day. And he was went to school at Sandrock, just walking in and out of the blue asking me. And we've had this discussion 100 times. He don't know why he asked me that question. He don't know. He just did.
Oh, that was the guy at the gas station?
The guy at the gas station, and just like, sitting in at Tootsie's and things just kind of taking off as quick as it did. And I never got that major record label, that major success. And at the time, it was something that I dearly wanted. You know what I mean? I wanted to be a big star. Shit, I wanted to be Jason Aldean. Looking back on it now, I'm so thankful I didn't.
Yeah,
because I've done well enough that I'm all right.
Yeah.
But I don't have to. Like Kid Rock said, he can't go to the dollar store, can't stop at a gas station.
There's a certain level of fame that's just like perfect, and you have it.
Yeah, man. And those guys they got all the money in the world, but they can't use it like we can. They can't just go out and hang out.
Son of a
with
bitch
people.
goes on fishing trips. I went on a deep sea fishing trip with him. I thought it was special, and then I proceeded to see 20 more pop up in the next year. I was like, oh, this was just another fucking weekend. I've been holding on to this memory like it was something special, and it's just like he goes on fishing trips like you go through underwear, man. This guy's all the time going hunting, fishing, all kinds of shit.
I always incorporate something good in my work and here's something else that younger musicians and more, even not just younger ones, but more musicians should get. I invest in the people who book me, just like they invest their money and, their time in me, I invest it back.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to pay me the kind of money that I ask for these days, and they'll always like, hey, if you come in a day early, we'll take you out on the boat, or we'll go fishing.
He's like,
or,
don't
or,
say it unless you mean it.
Yeah, I always say, I was like, don't say it unless you mean it, because I'll show up.
Yeah.
And so, or like you go hunting, or we'll go down and airboating in the swamps or something. I go, I show up.
You
Or
sure shit do. Look
I
at his
do,
face.
and if they want me to stay a day over, I by God go, and I invest that time back, and that's why I've still got the same clients for 15, 16 years, but book me every single year. Always, I've got 6 figures I can count on. If nothing else happens, those people are going to book me back. If nothing else happens.
And now if an agent reaches out to you, you're like, I don't want it. I don't need it now.
What would an agent do for me other than wanting a piece of what I'm already doing?
Right. That's when they
What's he
come
going to get
knocking,
me, a gig for $3,000,
Yeah.
$4,000? Because he wouldn't have the balls to ask for the kind of money I do.
I know.
He wouldn't, because I got no record labels. I got no hit songs. He wouldn't value me enough to ask for the kind of money that I get.
Nobody values you as much as yourself.
Most people don't even value their own self.
Correct.
And that's another thing I try to talk to people that I'm mentoring to. And and I told like Benny Carl, my buddy, and I know he won't mind me telling this story. I met him when he was in his late 20s, and you've seen him play fucking guys, just insanely talented
too.
But he's insanely talented. He's got that it factor that if you saw his band play, you wouldn't take your eyes off of him. You'd want to hang out with him. You'd want to
off stage too.
Get to know off stage.
You see him in a bar, you'll be like, that guy.
You just want to hang out with this dude, and he's just so nice, and he would totally hang out with everyone in here.
Mm-hmm.
He would totally take you into his crew and be like you've known him forever. But I told him, we were having a conversation one time, about I just got to know him, and Benny's been playing in bands since he was a teenager and left home when he was like 14 or 15. And just kind of been on his own. And we were talking, got to making money and how much they were getting paid and shit like that. And he said, I've never had $1,000 to my name at one time in my whole life. His in his late 20s. I said, what? He said, no, man, I've and I ain't saying this to put Benny down, man. Like I said, he knows, we've had this conversation 100 times. He'd tell you the same story. He said, no, I've never had $1,000 to my name at any one time. And he was telling me stories about how they would drive to freaking New York to do a show with no guarantee, hoping they sold a few T-shirts, nobody show up, and have to split a damn Whopper sandwich 4 ways, just so they have something to eat during the whole trip. That's all they'd eat and shit. Mm. And I said, I'll be right back. So I went in the house and I got an envelope and I came back out and I handed him $1,000. I said, well, now you have. And I said, you ain't got to be broke to be cool.
Yeah.
I said, you're just playing the wrong places. And I said, I can help you. I could teach you how to make money at this. You're too good not to be making stupid money. And Benny's one of those guys who listened and applied it, because I've learned this shit over a 20-year career. I have been that guy that would play for anything. I've been the guy that went and played and got stiffed. I've been the guy that barely had the money to get back and coasted into the house or the gas station on fumes and shit. I've done all that.
Yeah.
But you've got monitors and shit.
I got monitors,
and TVs and everything else.
I got gear, son. I got gear. And if somebody will. If anybody throughout my career has come to me and asked me, and I've always tried to mentor them and be open with them about the way I see things and the business side of it, not the music side, because they got that shit down. They don't need me to tell them how to play guitar or sing or none of that shit. What they
wouldn't even offer them advice if they didn't have the talent.
Well, exactly, man. I mean, if I didn't see something in them, I wouldn't be rude to them, you know what I'm saying? I'd still tell them something or tell them something that I see that they could work on or something. But somebody I see's got talent, man, I take an interest in them and I want to see them do good. I want to see those guys get a record deal. I want to see them making stupid money. Mm-hmm. And I don't need no accolades or to be a part of it. And like I told this one guy, I'll help you out. I'll do everything. And if you get signed, I don't want to be a manager. I don't want to be a part of it. I said, it's all you. I just want to see you succeed, man.
Yeah, that'd give you the most satisfaction.
Yeah, it would just give me the most satisfaction. I just want them to be successful. I wouldn't want to be a hindrance like the record label say, well, you got a little dead weight over here, we need to trim this fat off or we like you, but this guy's got to go. And it happens so many times.
Yeah.
You've seen acts that's got a mom or a dad or husband or a wife that tries to be a manager and just don't know shit about nothing. Well, they're a hindrance. They're not a help. So I don't want to be that. And so I was talking to Benny and all. I said, the first thing you have to do is you have to know, you have to value yourself. If you don't know what you're worth, how is somebody else supposed to know what you're worth?
That's right.
If how do you know what you can get for a show if you've never asked for it? If you ask for $10,000 a show, and you can't get $10,000 a show, then you probably should ask for 7, maybe 5.
Yeah.
But if you ask for $25,000 a show and they pay it, well, then you just fucked yourself this whole time if you never get the balls to ask for that money.
Yeah.
You don't know what your value is. You don't know how much you just left on the table.
Yeah.
And you can always say, and I've had this happen a lot of times, well, this is my fee plus travel, whatever. And they're like, well, that's just out of our budget. And there for a while, I said, well, I got 3 packages I can offer you. That's full band, full production, me bringing everything. I can bring 2 guys with me, and we can do it for this fee. Or I could come right by myself, and I'm going to play for this fee. One of them worked.
Yeah.
Still got paid. You know, at this point in my career, my fee's my fee. I'm traveling my whole band.
That's right.
That's what I get paid. Otherwise, I'm going to just play 4 nights a week down at Kid Rock's.
And you ain't hurt my feelings by saying no.
No. And the fee's the fee. And they're like, well, you know, we can't do it. But very seldom do people even tell me no. And it's usually the one-off. It's like somebody's birthday party or they're getting married.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen again, you know. But people, business people, I do a lot of, you know, corporate shows and stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to be an annual deal. They do that stuff all the time. And I'm the guy that they call for everything that they do. And, but I've always told the people that I'm talking to and mentoring, don't be afraid to ask for more money than you think you can get, because you can always come down. You can always, if they say, well, I can't pay 15 grand, you know, well, what kind of budget are you working on?
let
me
them
see
throw
what
out
I
the
can,
number.
you know, let's see what I can do. And they might say, hell, I can do 12. Well, shit, that's still
Pretty good.
I tell
Good
everybody
payday.
as stand-up comics that are starting to get into it as well, and look, I'm not at the top of the food chain, but one of my number one things is when somebody calls to book you for a gig, they'll go, well, I don't know what to ask. I go, you ask them, what's your budget? Because whatever their budget is what they expected to pay you,
right.
and there's your instant worth. If they go, well, our budget's $1,500, they thought they were about to get you for $1,500.
Yep,
Now, you don't have to do it, but I'm saying
exactly.
there's your price right there.
Right.
If
And
you
that's
go
great
in
advice.
and go $300, like you said, and they go, book it. You
Yeah.
go, well,
You just left $1,200 on the table.
Yeah.
That's
So it's
great
like-
advice, because, you know, you can say what kind of budget are you working with, just like you said. And a lot of times they'll come right out and tell you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I say, well, I don't know, because they want you to say it.
exactly.
But hell, 8 out of 10 times they will tell you what, you know, I was looking at,
And a lot of
You know,
them
4 or
don't know.
5s.
They don't know what
Yeah.
they should be paying you. They're
Correct.
terrified to insult you. They're
Yeah.
terrified.
they're terrified to insult you. You're terrified to insult them. And therefore, you know, nobody really throws out the correct number.
Yeah.
And it seems like every year I expect things to, you know, I'm 50 years old, and I've been doing this for 30 years. I keep expecting it to fall off, and someday it will. Someday it will. It happens to everybody. But every year has been better than the last. The last year was the best year I've ever had. And I've probably picked up 7 or 8 new clients coming in to 23. And
It's looking like it's going
I
to be
still
even
feel
better.
like I'm leaving money on the table. I still
Yeah.
do. I
Yeah.
still feel like they'd probably pay more if I asked it.
The older you get-
and I keep going up, and I keep getting more goddamn bookings.
I know, dude, I had no idea 10, 15 years ago that these $20,000 gigs were all around me.
They're
I had
all
no
around
i-
you, dude.
I had no idea that they were going on in people's backyard.
Yeah.
They were going on at little civitans.
You wouldn't believe how many times I go set up on somebody's porch and play, and you
break the fucking
hell,
bank.
probably
It's
half the road gigs I do a year is on somebody's porch.
Mhm.
No shit.
I'll tell you this too, corporate shit, they got a budget, and if they don't spend it one year, they don't get it the next.
Exactly.
So if you tell them that,
They're
they
going to
got
spend
at
that
least
money.
that next year.
Yeah, no shit.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And you also, once you take that money, you got to bring the goods. You got to go and deliver a show.
Yeah,
you know,
now
you got to
that's a
leave
different
them.
story.
You got to leave them
Yeah.
happy. You can't just go and show up and look down at your damn shoelaces the whole 4 hours. You know, you got to deliver the goods, and that's what we do. We very seldom, like I said, unless it's just maybe a wedding or something that's never going to happen again, do we never not get invited back. They
Those
got their
happen again. People get divorced and married again.
that does happen.
Bad example.
That does happen, man. So, but I've had to learn this, you know, as I've gone along, because I knew a long time ago that I wasn't playing in Nashville as a stepping stone. That was going to be my career. I was going to turn, and I always say this on stage, you know, I'm running a business up in
Yeah,
here.
he says it just like that.
I'm
too.
running a business.
You ain't
I'm-
got to tip us, but we running a business.
I'm a
up
businessman up in here, you know, and I don't ever ask them people for their tips or make them feel like they tell. Matter of fact, I tell them, you know, if you got a song you want to hear, let me know, and I'll try to play it before we get out of here. If you got a $20 bill or bigger, I'll play it immediately.
Right.
And I said, I'm running a business up in here, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm a businessman. And that's funny in itself, but it also lets them know, we're not here fucking around.
Yeah.
You didn't pay to get in. I know the drinks are expensive, and I'll also tell them before the bucket goes around, because we send it around, I don't want anybody in here to feel obligated to tip us. And I mean it. I really mean that.
Yeah.
And I said, but if you're enjoying yourself and you would like to drop a few bucks in our bucket, we'll make our living that way, and we appreciate it. You can see them just start clapping and just nodding their head, because they get beat over the head with that bucket in Nashville. Man, something fierce. I mean, there's some folks that are just assholes about it. And I don't want to be that guy. I don't want someone to tip me because they feel like they should. I want them to tip me. They're having the best goddamn time in their life, and they can't wait to come back. And it's the best money they spent while they were in town. And that's what they tell me when they hit me up on Facebook and stuff, because I'll stand on stage and give out my phone number. I do it 2 or 3 times a night.
No shit.
I do. What's the difference of giving out 500 business cards and just saying your phone number?
Yeah.
The phone number's on them business cards.
That's true.
They're going to just toss that shit before they even get out of the bar. They will dial your number and call it if you give it if you say it on the stage. And I can't tell you how much money.
You're here to tell people they do call 2, 3, 4 in the morning. They don't give a shit.
They call me, man, and I booked. I don't know how much money that's made me. And just people text me, "Are you booked on this date? We're having, got a 40th birthday party, or we're having a retirement party, or my son's graduating. We want to throw a big shindig," and it's all because I stood up there and said my phone number on stage.
When did you get this property he lives on in Ashland City? It's nice, dude. He's got a nice chunk of land right with a nice creek running right behind him, dude. It's like the ultimate place. When did you get that? When did you buy that?
I got really lucky, man. I found that place. The first 26 acres I bought where my house and saloon and all that stuff is. I bought it in 2013, and then in 2014, the 100-acre farm behind me came available, so I was lucky enough to get that. And then in 2015, 175 acres behind that came available. My buddy from Houston bought that property. So he comes there once or twice a year.
Daddy Warbucks over here just gobbled up all the property.
It wasn't expensive back then as it is now. I got it right. I got really lucky. I mean, now it's $20,000 an acre.
He has a saloon on his property, like a legit saloon.
Yeah.
He has music festivals at his house, dude. It's crazy.
When I bought that place, the old dude who had it was in construction, and he had horses, so he had a horse barn there, and then he had a big shop for his tractors and shit. And so I took that shop, built a porch on it, and I built a stage, a bar. I built 7 bedrooms in there, showers, bathrooms. We're working on an industrial kitchen right now. And then I got a pavilion out there that I can roll these garage doors up, and you can see all the way through it. And we'll have, like, we do New Year's Eve parties there, and we'll throw a 3 or 4 day festival. And hell, your band played both of those that we had, and people will bring their motorhomes. I got a bunch of RV hookups out there, and I'll bring in a glamping tent company out of Colorado, I think is where they come from. And they'll set up these tents. And when people get there, there's a bed in there with full linen. They had air conditioning in them. They had private showers. It was plush, man. It was pretty cool.
How many years? The final question. I know you got to get out of here. It's been 2 hours. How many more years do you think you got in the business?
Man,
I thought about that a lot.
I have thought about that, and I thought 50 would probably. I just turned 50, and I had some goals set for myself at 50, and I've hit those goals as far as business wise and financially and shit. And so I'm thinking probably 50.
Microphone fell. That's drunk.
If I can get 5 more years really killing it like I've been killing it, I'm probably going to just turn the band over to my son.
Yeah, because I see him. He's killing it now.
He's doing great, man. He's going in and playing, like some of the guys that he plays with, the drummer that he's playing with played with me some when I first moved to town 20 years ago. His name is Sticks. He's great. He's perfect for that front stage in daytime.
Yeah.
The Jack's his own. He's really patient, and he's such a great drummer. He's played with just legends, man. And then the guitar and bass player, they're older than Jack's, and then he's got a young fiddle player and then another young girl co-front with him.
Yeah.
they get in there, tear it up, man. They're setting records on the money that they're making on that daytime shift.
Dang.
Well, look at old Coach Stone over here. Got him geared up to make all the money you
man,
can make.
You taking 10% out every day?
I should, man. I should get a damn cut of that shit. Wipe his little dirty ass and feed him all these years. Hell yeah, put
That
up
was
with his
just
little
last year.
daggone attitude. And but you know, they're doing great, man. And he's got it made. You know, if he just gets in there and works, and he's going to grow and develop. And he don't care nothing about a record deal. He's not trying to be a star. He just wants to go down and play and get paid.
Well,
and,
he sees where the money is. Of course,
yeah,
he doesn't want to
exactly.
get
I
a
mean,
record deal.
so many people don't understand. You can turn that into such a great career, but you have to be business minded. You have to approach it as a business,
Right.
and that's what it is. It's a business. You know, I pay my guys well, and I pay them so well that I don't have to worry about them just going and playing with someone else. It'd be very hard for a road act to pull my guys.
Absolutely.
It would.
Yeah. Well,
And-
you thought about that when you paid them what you're paying them. You know?
Exactly. I pay my band members each more than what a lot of bands around here get paid as a whole now
Right.
for a gig.
Yeah.
And so, but I have to, because I want them guys comfortable.
Yeah.
I want them living a life where they ain't sweating light bills and car payments, and they ain't sweating if they want to go on vacation or nothing like that. You know, and we got some other guys that if they want to take a vacation or take time off to be with their family, them other guys slide right in their place. We never miss a beat. I make sure they try to get as much time with their family. One of my bass players got a, 11-year-old son, I think, and he's
God, he's a badass on bass.
and he's a drummer. His drumming is his first instrument.
Get the hell out
And
of
he's
here.
a freaking phenomenal bass player too. But his son's in school and he teaches music classes at his school and shit. And so, and then my drummer's girlfriend's got a little boy. I want them to spend time with their family.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that made me really appreciate the opportunities that I had with staying in town, is cause friends that I had, and just about most anybody in country music that you can think of, and some dudes in the rock world, I know them. We've hung out, we've met, we're friends and shit. And I watched them getting divorced and other men raising their children and shit.
Yeah, it happens.
And my son was 2 when I moved to Nashville, and I've been present for every first he's ever experienced.
Killer.
Every one of them.
That's great.
And that
See,
was
if you got that record deal, that shit wouldn't be. You
no,
wouldn't be saying that right
hell
now.
no. If you're on the road for 3-4 months or whatever, and me and my wife wound up getting back together after being divorced for 3 years. She moved to Nashville and we got to raise our son together. And it just, I wouldn't take anything for that.
That's the biggest accomplishment you've had, is raising your kids.
Man, I'm telling you, it's the most important thing to me in this whole world. Nothing else matters without them, without the family. And I wouldn't, money or none of the things, because things, as you accumulate them, are just time stealers. That's our
right.
most valuable asset.
It is.
And when you accumulate a lot of shit, and I grew up poor, my wife grew up poor, we didn't have anything until it went out of style, and then you could buy it for nothing, and then you get laughed at school for fucking wearing it and shit. And so, and my wife tells a story how she got bought some yard sale clothes and went to school, and then the girl at school was like, "Those are my clothes. You bought them at the yard sale." That kind of shit's the way we grew up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to the point, you couldn't have nothing, and you get to a point where all of a sudden, you can have things. And I had to have this, and I had to have that, and I had to have this, and I had to have that. Now all I have is a bunch of fucking problems that just occupy most of my time, while Benny Carl lives on my property in a camper.
Right.
And
he
is
ain't
fishing.
got no fucking problem.
And the only problem he's got is where he's going to spend all that goddamn money now.
Yeah.
And beer bait bullets is all his problem is. If I got beer bait and bullets, because he's fishing, I'm out there busting my ass, sweating like my balls off, fixing water pipes in the winter, chasing cows down the damn street. He's hooked his boat. He's headed out, son, going to Vail skiing, going to Colorado or North Carolina skiing. And I'm thinking to myself, which one of us has this figured out? Honestly, that's a legit question. Which one of us has got this figured out? Because he has nothing holding him down. other than his own desires. And all I'm out there doing is working on equipment and fixing fences.
It's
and,
hard not to get jealous of that. Like you look at
well,
him and like,
I'm not jealous of that, but what I am, why am I so stupid? So we're in the process of selling everything. We're going to sell it all, and me and the wife's going to get a motorhome, and we're not going to live anywhere. I've made so many friends and all across the United States and different parts of the world.
and your kids are old now. You can do
They're
that.
grown. My son's about to get married, and we made so many friends. I could pull my home up at a buddy's house and stay for 2 weeks, and he'd love every minute of it, and so would we. Getting that son, we're going to roll out to the next joint. Go spend our winters in Key West. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? That's the plan. But the one thing that I've realized, man, and I try to tell Jax and Becca, they're getting married, I said, live as modestly as you can. Live on it as little as you can get by with in the smallest house with the least amount of clothes and possessions that you can, and spend your money making memories. Go on vacations. Go skydiving. Climb a goddamn mountain.
Yeah.
Preach.
Do all that shit. Don't buy a boat, rent some gun.
Well, that's right.
You can go to any lake and rent boats, any kind of wake boats.
You don't need
pontoons.
nothing but a pontoon boat.
Hell no,
That's
you
all
don't.
need.
You can rent any kind of shit. Go rent you a jet if you live like that. In their late 20s, they can go rent a private jet and go on a vacation. You don't got to own one.
That's right.
Shit, there's jets everywhere sitting there wishing you'd rent one or lease one. And I said, don't own this shit that's just stealing your time, because no matter what age you are, your time is your most valuable asset. That's your most valuable thing that you will ever have. And it can be taken from you in a heartbeat. And not just through death, but through injury.
Yeah.
These people work their whole life and save all this money, and they go on one vacation a year and they don't do this. And they're like, when I retire, I'm going to do this. Boy, what the fuck are you going to do at 70?
Yeah. You better do it.
You might take a cruise. You might fly somewhere and walk around and see some sights. You ain't mountain biking. You ain't snow skiing.
Yeah.
Unless you went to the gym every day and made a lifestyle out of it, you might be. But at retirement age, you ain't doing the fun shit you could do now.
Yeah.
You see that
that's
tattoo right
why
there?
I told my wife and I told my son and everything, ain't going to be no bunch of money at the end. They just ain't. We use ours as we go, because one thing that does not scare me in this life is being broke. I'm not afraid of it. We was broke our whole life. It don't scare me at all. I can go back to being poor tomorrow, and it won't affect me one bit. Actually, I'll probably be happier and have way more time to fish.
You see more miserable rich people than you do
Oh my God,
poor people, dude.
I mean, just like I said, these super wealthy people that's you wouldn't believe how much money Bob's got sitting in the bank. But like you said, he can't go to Dollar General store.
Get harassed.
I've been with him when he was in his heyday, man. He literally had to have a guy go to the bathroom with him and stand outside the stall to keep people from jacking with him while he was taking a shit. A fact. I've been with him in hotels and shit. We walk through wherever we go. Once one person realizes who he is, it's on. It's pandemonium.
That's why I got that tattoo. Don't sell the moment. That's what it says. Don't sell the moment.
Exactly.
Because that's what we do. We sell moments all the time. You can't buy them back.
You can't buy them back.
You can't buy that
man.
moment back.
You can't buy them back. That's why if I get an opportunity to do anything, if somebody invites me to something that sounds fun, I'm there. I'm going to do it. Because usually I'm lucky enough, it's on their dime.
Yeah.
I got paid to come there
That's
and do
the way
shit.
I've operated for the past 20
I got
years.
paid to come there and do that shit. So why in the world would you pass that up? But you wouldn't believe how many musicians I've worked with, and I had to get rid of some recently that they wanted to roll in right before the show. Downbeat, they wanted to roll right back out.
Not
And
shaking
dude's
any
got
hands.
dude's got a limousine waiting on us, fix and take us to the nicest restaurants there is, strip bars, wherever, go out on pontoon. They pick us up in private jets, and they don't want to give them no time. They don't want to give them nothing
And
back.
that's
And
all
I'm
those
like,
people want.
That's all they want,
want to
man.
share a moment with you.
That's all they want. They just want you to hang out with them. And if you'll do that, man, some of my best friends that I have in this life was made that exact way, and they will carry me to my grave.
Yeah.
Or I'll carry them.
Well, luckily for you, David Lynham wants to load us up in his Ram truck and take us to a Mexican restaurant after this.
By God, I'm in.
Right.
My motto is, if you paying, we's a playing.
Well, man, we appreciate you coming in today, man. This has been like the highlight of our month, dude. This is
awesome.
great.
Man, I thank y'all for the thank you for letting me know Cam threw me under the fucking bus.
Oh, you're welcome, man.
Nah, man, I appreciate it. I got you sent me the podcast link and I pulled it up, man. I'm really impressed with what y'all are doing here. It's just first rate. I mean, the equipment, the way you guys are doing it, it looks great on YouTube.
Incredible.
Like if you're just sitting there watching it and listening, it looks good. It's funny. It's organic. It's just natural, man. I think you're onto something here. So
I hope
thank
so.
y'all for having me. Let me be part of it. And I wish y'all all the success in the world. And if I can help you in any way, I'll be glad to.
And
Thank
if you
you.
want to catch John, you can go see him on Broadway anytime during the week, buddy. He's over there.
Yeah, Kid Rocks. I play there Tuesday, Wednesday, 6 to 10 on the main stage, and Friday, Saturday afternoon, 2 to 6 on the main stage if I'm not touring. But I usually, if you'll follow my Instagram, John Stone Country, JOHNSTONE Country.
We'll put it on a graphic.
Yeah, cool, man. I usually post that, the week of, but you can post it and you can make a banner of it. You
Yeah.
can tag people in it, and they'll send you
still
a
ask.
message. Hey, when are you playing this week?
Yeah.
So if they always message me, and I always just send it back to them. But that's the number one text or message that I send out is my
You're
schedule.
lucky they even found you by name. You can put banners all over the stage, and they're still going to ask who the hell
I'm
are
telling
you.
you right now, man, you can have them all over your stage. What's the name of the band? That's the truth, man. That is so true.
We appreciate you coming down here on a revoked license. You know what I mean? That was
Yeah.
big of you.
No shit, man. Golly.
Well, we will see y'all next week. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you rate, view, and subscribe to the podcast, and leave some comments on YouTube for us. And we'll see y'all next week. See
Hell
y'all.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
You get away with love.